talk to you about risks. Risks are single-handedly the number one reason why I am where I am today, and I want to share with you why taking risks is so important and why people just refuse to take risks. If you're anything like me, you probably grew up with limited beliefs. Let me give you an example. Like, for example, like maybe your parents, maybe your family, all of them grew up thinking that we have limitations, thinking that we're not good enough, thinking that it's not for us, thinking that it's only for, white people, it's only for powerful people, it's only for other types, except minorities. Me, I didn't speak English until I started elementary school, and I used to take the school bus, and I hated it. And I used to be one of the few brown kids that attended this school in Granada Hills, which was a white area. 99% of the students and the teachers were white, and I was the only Mexican. Not the only one, but maybe the 0.005%. Not a lot of them. If I give you a number, maybe 5 Hispanics were in that school. I had to learn English the hard way. I had to learn English by watching cartoons and by just teaching myself and by just figuring it out and talking to all these students. So what this did for me is it created a high level of courage, because I was not courageous when I started going to this school, elementary school. This was the first grade. I was not courageous, but because I had to battle with all these kids that would make fun of me and the teachers that would put me down, and I was put on a special ed class, even though I was not special ed, but they thought I was special ed because I didn't speak English. And through middle school and high school, it was a battle, but it made me courageous, and it gave me that fire that I needed so that I could grow up one day and teach these teachers and kids a lesson. All these kids and all these teachers that made me feel like I wasn't good enough, it just made me so courageous to grow up and teach these kids a lesson. It gave me this courage. And then what I did is, once I grew up, after high school, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for me to become successful, for me to become a celebrity, for people to know who I am. And I started taking risks. I'm gonna start with the first risk that I took. The first risk that I took was back when I was starting in the mortgage business. I started in the mortgage business. I was about 21 years old, and I was working for this guy that owned a mortgage company, and I saw him driving a nice Mercedes, a nice BMW, and I said, you know what, I want to be like that. I want to be successful. My parents, family, and friends, they thought the only way you could be successful was by going to school, graduating, getting your degree, and then you could get a job that would pay you good money. To a lot of people, including them, good money is $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Back then, we weren't even talking about $70,000, but that's small thinking. You want to put yourself in a place where you can make sales and you can earn commission, and you can make way more than that. You could earn $50, $100, $200, $500,000, $1 million, and you could create wealth by buying assets, by attaining assets. But they don't teach you that in school, and that's why I want to deliver these messages to help you guys and just give you advice from my life. Things that I've achieved, only things that I've achieved, and things that I could show you how to do. And there's a lot of these mentors, online mentors, and instapreneurs, and so on, and they're trying to teach you business. They're trying to teach you how to become successful. They're trying to teach you how to become a millionaire. I have billionaire stuck in my head all the time because that's where I'm aiming now. But all these millionaire mentors and millionaire instapreneurs, Like it's really simple to find out if these guys are even like making 100K net. You know, there's a difference between top line and your net income. Big difference. Like if these guys, I mean, you could tell these guys are not driving like Ferraris or Lambos, or are really living in a house or even a condo where it's expensive to be there. I mean, if they're not dressed well, if they live in the ghetto, or you know, you could tell when somebody's successful because of their lifestyle, plain and simple. And then you could separate them by looking at how long they've been winning. You know, how long have they been winning? If they've been winning for 1 year, or if they're just up and coming new people, they really haven't paid their dues. You know, but when somebody's been doing it for a couple years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, then you got to pay attention to them and you got to listen to them. So that's why I like to give business on things that I've gone through, things that I learned the hard way, things that have costed me pain. I talk about borderline heart attacks, ending up in the hospital, not being able to breathe, not being able to swallow food, choking on your own food because of all the pressure, because of all the stress you have, not because you're running one company, but 2 companies, but 3 companies, but 4 companies. A lot of things, because you have not one employee, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in offices, and so on. So there's a whole different level of winning and being a real entrepreneur and a millionaire mentor, or a multi-million-dollar mentor, or a billion-dollar mentor. So everything that I share and that I will be sharing with these videos is going to be things that I lived through and things that I've achieved and things that I want to show you and share with you so that you can do the same and you could also be winning at a high level. Nothing makes me more happy than having you guys win. So taking risks is the key thing to winning big, to getting far in life. And I'll share 2 quick stories in this next minute because I don't want to go so long. I don't want to make these videos long, but these are quick minutes that I'm going to be doing every morning just to share with you. And it's taking risks. And my first risk that I took is I saw this mentor that at the time, his name was Jaime, okay, and he had this company, and it's when I started in the mortgage business. And he had a nice car, an S600, and I said, you know what, I want to be like this guy. I want to be winning. And it was, I was really young at the time, 21, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get something that's going to push me. So at the time, I got an S550. I was the first person in that company to have an S550. This is the S550 when it just came out. It had just changed from the S500 to the S550. And I wanted to get this S550. I wanted to be the first one, and I got this S550. I don't think it was like the best decision if I could go back and just have the intelligence that I had now. But I got this S550, and I was paying $1,800 a month, and my insurance was about $1,000 a month because I had a DUI that I got in. And it was expensive. I was making $240,000. I wasn't even making any money, by the way. Yet that year I made $240,000 my first year in the mortgage business. But when I got the car, I wasn't even making that much money. I was making okay money, but let me show you this story and how powerful it is. What I did is, my first month in the business, I closed 4 deals, and I went from making $9 an hour to earning $16,000 my first month in the business. You know what I did? I bought a house and I bought an S550. And I said, I'm just going to commit and figure it out later. And this was way back. I'm talking about over 10 years. Okay, over 10 years, maybe over 15 years. And I got this S550. And what it did, what taking this risk did for me was, now I was forced to work in order to pay for my S550 and for my home. And guess what? It just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. Next month, I close deals again. I make good money again. I make more than 16 grand. And guess what I do? Go buy another house. Bought another house. Now I have 2 single families. Another mistake. Obviously, I was 21. I didn't have the mentorships that I have now. I didn't have a billionaire mentor. I didn't have a $100 million mentor, and I didn't have a $500 million mentor. But I had a mentor that was barely, breaking $1 million, and that's what I learned. And this was right before the 2008 crash, a couple of years before that, and then I hit the 2008 crash and I lose everything. And I learned my lesson, but I didn't have the mentor, that I have, the mentors that I have now. But I had the courage, and the courage worked, because by getting the car, by getting the houses, it increased my requirements like you have no idea. And by increasing my requirements, I started working more. I was the first one in the office, I was the last one to leave, and I did it every day, Monday through Sunday. I was so broke that I had only 20 bucks on me at all times. And you know what I did? I used to go buy my Absolute. That Absolute bottle, if you guys haven't seen that big Absolute bottle, you could buy it in Costco for about 26 bucks. Back then, I'm sure it went up a couple of dollars. I used to buy that bottle, and it used to last me a month, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on how busy I was. And title reps bring you food, and they bring you drinks like Cokes and sodas, because they want your business. So they used to take food, and I used to eat that food. And guess what I did? When it was after being on the phone from the morning till afternoon, it's 6-7 p.m. I'm already getting a little tired. I would spike my soda, put some vodka, Absolute vodka on my soda, inside my soda, and I would drink that, get a nice little buzz, and keep banging on the phones, keep making some phone calls. And that would just keep me going. And I kept making sales after sales. And then I would eat that. And then what I did for lunch, I used to go and beg the top producers, hey, take me out to lunch. Let's go out to lunch. Can I pick your brain? Let's go have lunch. Obviously, they're part of the company, so they would take me sometimes, and I would just listen. If you want to be really successful, learn how to listen. One bedroom. I went from a one-bedroom apartment to a one-bedroom high-rise with a great view that was $5,000 a month. I went from $1,500 a month paying for a one-bedroom apartment to paying $5,000. Then I started paying $6,700, almost $7,000. Then I said, you know what? I gotta increase my requirements. So what did I do? I went to the 10,000 building and got myself a unit on the 36th floor. People say I copy Grant. Of course I'm gonna copy Grant. Grant lives on the 33rd floor. I live on the 36th floor. Why not copy what works? Why not get a Rolls like Grant? Why not get something that's gonna increase your requirements? So I went there, moved into the 36th floor in the 10,000 building, paying almost $20,000 a month to rent, just to rent that unit, 36th floor. And guess what that did? It increased my requirements. I started hiring more agents, recruiting more agents, getting more offices. Now our production is like, we are but we are crushing real estate offices, mortgage offices, companies that have been in the business for 30-20 years. They don't know what I know, what I've learned by paying millions to get mentored and learning so much stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you in these videos. But my whole purpose today is, hey, take a risk. If you're doing okay, risk it. If you got $50,000 in the bank, if you have 100, or even if you have 5 or 10,000, get rid of it and use that money to invest in a mentor or in some courses or in something that's going to teach you and make you better here. The mind is very powerful. Unless you train your mind, unless you make your mind sharper and more intelligent, you're not going to get anywhere. And how are you going to do that? By grabbing onto your balls like a man and taking some risks like I did. You gotta take risks. You gotta grow some balls. If you don't have balls, then you lost already. So take some risks. And risks are the only thing that are gonna take you to that next level. And then you're gonna jump to the next level. Get something. Commit to something that's gonna increase your requirements. Okay, it's gonna increase your requirements. Put yourself in a situation where you don't have any other option but to push yourselves, to break your limits and achieve higher levels that you didn't even know you had. So I hope my message today relates to you. If you are borderline of taking a huge risk that you might lose it all, you might end up in the street homeless like I did a couple times. But maybe, just maybe, this could be your moment where you finally break your first million, or your first 10 million, or your first 30 million, or your first 100 million. Think about that and have a great day. Kill it today, and remember, when you come to that point where, should I take this risk or maybe I shouldn't? Go for it. Go all in, dive in, and never look back. Have a great one, guys.